everyone, I thought I would film a holiday tag video for you today. I was just watching That's So CCO's channel, I will link her below, and she did this tag video, so I thought I would do it. I haven't been tagged by anyone, but nonetheless I thought I would film it. So I hope you guys enjoy, and this is up on my second channel, which is my vlog channel, so if you want to go and see my other channel then I will also link that below as well, which is my beauty channel, just in case you have never seen it before. But yes, let's get started on the questions. Okay, so question one is your favourite Christmas movie. I would say it's Elf. That has to be hands down my favourite Christmas movie, and when I watch that I absolutely love it, and I don't know why, but it's just one of those videos that I absolutely adore, and I mean adore. It's like so funny and so beautiful and just so, it's just amazing. Like, I know it's Christmas when I watch Elf, and I've yet to watch it so far this like Christmas season. I've watched it like loads throughout the year because that's how much I love it, but I have yet to watch it like in the festive season. And I've got a funny little story for you about Elf. I went to Tesco's the other day when I was back at home, and I was looking at the DVD section, and in the DVD section there was Elf for £3, and I was like, oh my god, like to own Elf for £3 is like the biggest thing in the world, so that's like amazing. So I purchased it, I took it home, I put it in my DVD collection, to then realise that I've already done that, and I bought it last year also for £3, and I was like, oh dear, like well done. So I now own Elf on DVD twice, which is good because if one breaks or like gets scratched, then I have a second one. But I also love all the Home Alone films as well. I think they're kind of like the films that my family, like, we would all watch together like on Christmas Eve. That's like what we used to do, though, and those would be the films that we'd watch. Whereas Elf is like a personal favourite of mine. Question 2 is, are you on the naughty list or nice list? I'd like to say that I'm on the nice list. I'd like to like think that I'm on the nice list. I don't think I'm that naughty. We shall see at Christmas. The third question is, show us an embarrassing Christmas card photo. Now, I don't know if it's just my family that doesn't do this. I know a lot of my friends' families don't. We don't send like holiday cards with photos on, unless it's like a Christmas photo. It's not, we don't like send like family photos. I don't know. I don't know if that's quite American to send like holiday cards with like a family photo on. We don't, like I don't here, so I don't have an embarrassing Christmas card photo to show you, I'm afraid. As funny as it would be, I'm sorry I don't. Question, what's that one? 1, 2, 3. Question 4. Have you ever had a white Christmas? Well, I live in the southern part of England, and for quite a few years when I was younger, we only really got snow kind of in January, that sort of time, and then I can remember one year we had the tiniest amount of snow, and I mean like it was just like a little sprinkle of snow, and on Christmas Day me and a couple of my sisters made like a snowman, and literally we scraped snow off of every kind of flat area, or every like just anywhere we could find snow, we literally scraped it off and made this like tiny snowman, and it was only like this big, like it was a really small one, and that was like amazing and magical. But then last year, for some reason, we had a white Christmas, and as beautiful and as lovely as a white Christmas is, it causes a lot of chaos and a lot of problems, especially with travelling. And last year, I spent Christmas at my sister's house, and I spent it with my, at the time, partner, and we went around to both families, and we went to visit his parents and his sister, and we went around everywhere, and bearing in mind I live in like the countryside, that means like none of the roads get gritted, that it's just absolute chaos. So it kind of causes more problems than it's worth, as beautiful as it is. And if I was spending it at home and I was spending it, you know, and I didn't have to travel anywhere, then I would love it. But for the safety of like my family and everyone else's families, of course, traveling around, it's kind of, it causes a bit of disruption. So, you know, like with it, like the ground freezing as well, it meant that like my family on Boxing Day, like a lot of them had to go home earlier because they didn't want to risk the ground freezing outside and then like having an accident or something. So as beautiful as it is, it causes a lot of chaos, but never mind. And question 5 is, where do you usually spend your holiday? Now, when I was little, we never went anywhere else but home, and I was really fortunate as a child because I come from a really large family, so everyone would gather at the home, like this was the hub of our family. We would gather there. My mum would cook the most tremendous meal. There'd be so many of us, we would have to have like 2 dining room tables to seat us all. But now, with obviously my sisters, they are having their own families, they're having my lovely little nieces and nephews, they choose to spend Christmas elsewhere, and so now the kind of hub that used to be kind of, I don't know, the centre of Christmas, is not really, no longer. So last year I spent it at my sister's house. This year I honestly think I'm spending Christmas by myself, and that sounds really sad, but with me being in London, kind of plans have been made without me in mind, and I haven't really been able to input and be like, oh, you know, spend Christmas doing this. And I spoke to my mum the other day and she was like, oh yeah, we're going elsewhere for Christmas, me and your father. And I was like, oh right. I was like, well, I'm home at Christmas. And yeah, my mum's working on Christmas, but we're spending Boxing Day together, like as a family. So hopefully Boxing Day will be my Christmas day. So yeah. Question 6. Play or sing your favourite Christmas song. I'm going to play it. I'm going to have to find it though because I don't have it right now. This one is my favourite, and it's Fairy Tale of New York, and I absolutely love it, like absolutely love it. It should play anytime soon. I played this in at one of my vlogs as well.
There was Christmas Eve and the trunk tank and all that said to me.
So yeah, that's my favourite Christmas song, and it's Fairy Tale in New York, and I know a lot of people love that song. It's just so beautiful, and his voice is just lovely and Christmassy, and it just reminds me of Christmas, as does the Band-Aid song. I have another story that kind of relates to that song, and it was when I was about 13. I think I probably was about 13, and for Christmas my sister, she at the time was about 15, and she was obsessed with Band-Aid, and I mean properly obsessed. And like at that time, obviously we didn't have downloads, we couldn't download music. The only music you really had was when you would record like the top 40 hits on a Sunday, so that's like the music that we had. And I went out on Christmas Eve, and bearing in mind, like I said, I come from a really small town. There is hardly any places that sell CDs, let alone, you know, it's just a really small town. And I went out on Christmas Eve, and it was freezing cold, and I can remember this day really well. And I walked miles all around like this town to try and find the bloody Band-Aid CD. From one side of the town, like where I live, to the other side of the town, it's probably about a mile and a half. So I walked all around this town, and it was freezing. And I went into every shop and I was like, do you have this? Do you have this like CD? Do you sell the CD? I think I got to the last shop and they sold it, and it was like the last one. And then I went home like really happy, like, oh my god, I bought my sister the most amazing present in the world. She's going to love it. And I wrapped it up, and it's one of those presents, you know, when you wrap it up and you're so excited to like give it to someone, and you're there like waiting like eagerly. And yeah, I wrapped it up, and then she like kind of just shrugged it off when she opened it. And I was like, I went out in the freezing cold, like I was so upset, like I was really annoyed. So there's another random little story for you. Okay, the next question is, do you open any presents on Christmas Eve? Now, I know a lot of people do open Christmas presents on Christmas Eve, but I think my parents did the whole Christmas story quite strange for me as a child, and I'm still quite baffled by it, because a lot of families do presents from Father Christmas, but that's not how we were told as children. That's not what happened. Like, basically, right, this is going to be a really long video, but I want to like share this with you because I think these are quite amusing stories. When I was little, my parents used to say that, right, because I had such a big family, presents, like, we always knew that presents were like, people would turn up at our houses, like, people would turn up at our house with a bag of presents and then be like, oh, these are from, you know, the family, and then they would say like who they're from, and then they would put them under our Christmas tree. And obviously, like, as a child, Father Christmas was meant to bring you presents, so we were really confused by this. And what my mum and dad said to us as children was that people gave you presents, but they gave you broken presents. And what happened was Father Christmas couldn't allow broken presents to be given at Christmas, so we'd take them from our house and like get his elves to fix all the presents, and then he would bring them back the next day, all fixed, depending on if we were good or not. And so that kind of made sense. You had to be good all year round, otherwise you would just get broken presents. So it was quite a confusing time, because a lot of parents would say, no, Father Christmas gives you presents. But I think my parents were like, no, we want you to thank the people that's given you the presents, so you need to know that you've been given presents by someone. It was very confusing, and I'm still quite confused what happened, because there would be Christmas presents under our Christmas tree up until Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Eve they would magically go